There it is.
Okay. So today we're going to have another interview with the incredibly talented director of Scioto Valley, Kerry Denino. Hi, Kerry.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Yeah, we're all doing good, I think. So
I know.
let's just start with, what is your music background?
Well, it really kind of is mostly based around barbershop. Both of my parents were barbershoppers before I was born. So I grew up knowing that they were both in chorus and in quartet. And so there was always music in the house. In addition to barbershop, jazz, they would play jazz, folk, show tunes. There was always music. And, I always used to, have my favorite songs that their quartets would sing or whatnot, and just always wanted to do that. And so followed mom to chorus rehearsal as a tween. And then they finally let me join when I was 13. And in addition to that, besides barbershop, I played flute for 3 years. And then I was in high school choirs and did all state choirs, solo and ensemble. And then I sang with the Ohio State Symphonic Choir for a couple of years. So, and then barbershop. So there you have it.
So were you one of those kids that would sit there at your parents' quartet rehearsals and just soak it all in?
Yeah, I was one of those. I'm an only child, so I would go with mom to quartet rehearsal, and sometimes I would go off and watch TV, but sometimes I would just sit if they were doing a standing rehearsal, because back in the day there was a lot of sitting rehearsals, right? I would stand and watch them. I could sing probably all of their songs back then. And so yeah, that was just normal.
Was it always the baritone part?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't realize that I was a baritone at first, because when it was finally time for me to think about joining, I'm like, well, I should probably sing lead. I don't know why I thought that. And mom got me because they had cassette tape of the learning of Harmonize the World, which was the tryout song. And I had my little cassette learning tape of that. I learned it. And then I went to an actual guest night, and I was always sitting in the baritone section because that's where mom sat. And Karen Johns, who was my friend, was a baritone, and we would all sit there together. And I was sitting there, and Linda Fozzie, who's a member of Columbus Chorus, just said, "Here, sing with us, sing baritone." And I was like, okay. And by the end of that night, I'm like, I can sing baritone. Yep. I think I got it. So I'm like, Mom, I'm going to be a baritone too. She's like, good.
So how did you become a director?
Well, that happened in 2007 in the fall. I actually wasn't an active member of the chorus at the time, but still involved. And it was the week of International in Calgary, and I had just gone there because we were going to sing Spotlight. And then I get the call the day I got there that mom had a heart attack, turn around, come back home. And that, it turned out fine and all, but there was the chorus's annual show was like in 2 weeks from there.
Oh,
and it was like, you need to go help direct that show. So it was me and Lori Lucas, who was one of the she was the assistant director at the time. So we divvied up all the songs. I mean, it was like a crash course. We made the show work. And then when mom started, feeling better, and she started coming back, and, she would kind of coach. And then, I'd be like, she would kind of do a little bit, and, just kind of easing into it. And just from regular rehearsals. And I think it was maybe the beginning of January, I said, whenever you're ready to just take it back, I'm whatever you want, She's like, well, I kind of thought this has been kind of fun, where like I direct some and you direct some, and then we coach each other. I'm like, oh, okay. All righty. So then we had to take that to the management team and the whole idea. And the rest is history, because there you go. So that was the beginning of 2008. And I haven't looked back since. So it was not in the plan, but it was fun.
It's funny how that all happens. It
Yeah,
really
it's
is.
crazy.
So we're talking about your mom, Char Gurney. What was it like co-directing with her? You kind of touched on it.
It was it was amazing because, first of all, we shared a brain, in a lot of ways, but we also had different strengths and weaknesses. So together we made this perfect team. She's always from the get-go taught me everything she knew. I mean, I learned how to just move my hands from her at all back in the first year of Scioto Valley. She said, anybody want to learn how to direct, come to my house. We stood around in a circle. She taught us how to very basics of directing. And I was sort of an assistant director off and on during some of the years. It wasn't like a lot. It was just here and there. And so I already knew how she was. I mean, we just were on the same page all the time. And so it was just totally fun. I mean, I think the biggest thing was that you had that in-house coach, right there. And boy, that was just tons of fun. And from there we started coaching together as a team here, for different choruses and people. And we would always just get so jazzed. Like I was just about to say something and she said it. I'm like, that's what I was thinking too, So that was just that was normal for us. So, yep.
Yeah, so it's a little different directing solo.
It's definitely different. Yeah. And, the time came for her when she was ready to just be done with it. It wasn't like it was sort of gradual. Her last international, at that point she was done being on the risers to actually sing. And then, she finally kind of just stepped aside. But, that didn't change my need for her and the daily calls for advice and ideas. I think at first the hardest things were just that we really did divvy up pretty half and half all of the duties, and then that kind of was like, hi, it's all yours now. And so I had to get used to that. Luckily I've really been very fortunate with a wonderful music staff that has done whatever I've needed, in assistant directors, choreographers that have been there as sounding boards. Kathy Holloway has always been there in that respect as well, of course. And so, yeah, it just took some time. I definitely felt a little more stressed out, but we figured it out. We figured it out. So,
yeah. So do you have a favorite memory as a director?
I was thinking about that, and it's kind of the same memory that a lot of our chorus members have, but that first international in Houston, first of all, the fact that we got to go, and when we were on stage that first time, we're like, oh my gosh, we're at the big dance. This is so cool. And then when they have the directors go on stage, and was like, Mom and I were like, what are we doing here? And then when they were announcing the finalists, and all of that particular year, all of the presidents and directors sat in this specific area. So we weren't with the chorus. And when they called us for the finals, we were just like, wow, and then, I mean, the whole week was just like, we were just like floating kind of above everybody all week long. And it was just, and then of course, when they did the call off for just for the medals and all that. And we were just like, this is surreal, completely surreal. So Mom and I always talked about that, and like I said, a lot of our chorus members, when we say, what's your favorite chorus memory? They'll be like, Houston. There's just something special about that first big thing that happens to you that you didn't expect. And when you're like, wow, we kind of know what we're doing, I guess, huh? Who knew?
Yeah.
It's so fun though.
You're also a queen of harmony. with Spotlight. You're the baritone
Mhm.
Spotlight. And so do you have any favorite memory or funny story?
I guess probably funniest stories would be we were invited to the Region 31 regional competition um, as the guest quartet. They would often have bring over somebody, and so we we spent it. I spent a day. Kendra and I spent a day in London, and then we met up with Patty and Leanne, who had been up in Scotland, come down, blah blah blah. And the whole idea of just the difference of life over there. We were in a hotel. I guess by the time we were at the competition, which was in Birmingham, and just it's English, but it was different. And I remember Patty, because she's totally goofy. She was trying to talk to uh I guess it was room service. And she's like, can we get a pizza? Okay. Well, how big is that pizza? Well, if she's talking. So if you were going to get a pizza, would you just get one pizza, or how many pizzas do you think we would need for 4 people? And do you have any Diet Cokes? I mean, big Diet Cokes. Do you have, because everything we get is little Diet Cokes, but we're from America and we can like a lot of Diet Coke. I mean, we were just roaring in the background, just laughing so hard because it was just like all the little things just all came out. We want lots of pizza, we want lots of Diet Coke, and do you have any ice at all? Because they don't use a lot of ice in their drinks over there. So I don't know why that one sticks out to me, but we just laughed and laughed and laughed. It was so fun. We had a blast. That it was a whirlwind weekend kind of. It was just like it was a long weekend for me. And we were on the BBC. We sang on the BBC morning show, which would be like, I guess, being on the Today Show here, right? And that was totally fun. And then made lifelong friends from being in that region, which is what's so wonderful. I mean, just I talked to my barbershop friends, and I'll say, oh yeah, my friend over in England, and my friend over in Dayton, and my friend over in Texas, and my friend over in Canada. They're like, what, you have all these friends? I'm like, yeah, Sweet Adelines, welcome to it, it's awesome.
That's right. Well, and you have a very talented family. Would you like to tell us about them and their...
Sure. My husband Steve and I met through barbershop. He was in the chorus with my dad. My dad's a 60-year member of the BHS, and he was kind of the one who started the whole barbershop thing. He was in a quartet in high school, and then got into barbershop before he met my mom. He got my mom into Sweet Adelines, although she had a high school quartet too. She did kind of like quartets type stuff. And so I would go to chorus with my dad. He was in the Singing Buckeyes here in Columbus, and we were starting to get some cute young guys, that were in the front row. And so Karen and I would go like in the summer and just kind of watch rehearsal. And when I'm with Steve, he was there. He started with his dad and his 3 brothers. They were a family quartet. And so that's kind of how I got to meet him. And eventually we tied the knot. And 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our kids, obviously there's a lot of music here too. Steve's a quartet singer. And so they've loved barbershop from the get-go. And we used to teach them tags in the car, for long drives. And they would always have their favorite things CDs they wanted to listen to, or whatever. Nick joined when he was 10 going on 11. He joined the Alliance with his dad, and he sang for a few years. And Sam's never specifically joined, but is the biggest barbershop nerd ever, and knows everybody and loves it so much. And they both are band kids, played in high school band, and Nick also sang choir, and he's right now in the Ohio State Marching Band, and he is going to be a choral director. He's going into music ed. So it's continuing down the path of more and more music to be had in this family. So it's wonderful. I don't know what we would do without it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's great. I liked following Nick on the best damn band in the land.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so that's great. So
yeah.
Do you have any hobbies other than music?
sometimes I get into crafting. I did a whole lot of crafting in 2020. Uh, I was into diamond painting. I've been into crochet. Just it kind of just whatever strikes me. Right now, the hobby's been we've kind of been redecorating the house, kind of a little bit of renovation here there. I get on my Netflix binges once in a while. That's right now I'm on the Virgin River. That you just never know. Sam and I will get into the documentaries of about murderers and scary stuff, and so yeah. But I mean, there's not a whole lot of time for a whole lot more than that.
Well, absolutely. And so I would think you would think that Sweet Adeline's changed your life in many positive ways.
Yeah, I mean, it is my life. It has been my life for so long. But it's taught me so much about leadership that it's hard to explain that to people who aren't involved in it. That why do you know that? How come you're so good at communication? Why are you such a leader? You didn't really learn that in school. I'm like, well, I learned it in Sweet Adelines. I mean, if you think of how many different educational events I've been to over the years, I've learned so much. And like I said, earlier about just lifelong friends from all over the world. I mean, that just it feeds you, and I can't wait to see them all again someday.
I know. So do you have any words that you live by?
I guess I'd say, this was be nice. and be accepting of others. I know in this day and age, there's a lot out there that we don't know, and we have to understand that we don't all come from the same cloth, and we don't always understand what another person's going through. And you just got to be more understanding and accepting of, and that's the thing with, in our hobby, we have people from all walks of life, and that is true. There is no joke there, and they're all important, and maybe it is, some people don't run their life like I run my life, but they're my singing sister, we're part of the family, and I think that's the big thing. It's just, gotta accept everyone, whether they're like you or not. We're here because we love harmony, we love to sing, and I think that's what makes it just rich. And I think that's what the biggest thing that has helped me grow up, and I think my kids too. Just knowing that it doesn't matter where you're from or how old you are or anything. We are all one together. So
yeah, that music just binds us all together.
It just does. You just can't deny
it. Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy musical schedule.
Thank you.
And this will be airing soon. And
okay.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, Kerry.
All right. Thanks, Deb. Hello. Goodbye. Love you all.